So I'm starting with my numerology deck today because there's a heaviness within the collective energy today. It feels to me like there's something that you're trying to speak up about, but you're not being heard. You don't feel seen. And the energy feels really heavy to me. It feels low. It feels sad. So I think there's something that you're trying to voice and that the people around you just aren't listening to you. And this could be in terms of like friends, family, but there's something, it's like you feel silenced. That's the card that I'm seeing out of this deck, the silenced. Right, what's going on with this collective, please? Guys, let's see what's happening. Oh, that's too many. Let's see what's happening here, because this energy feels really heavy to me. And there's a lot of cycles that are closing out for people at the moment as well. So there might be some really big lessons that you're experiencing at the moment. Okay, so you are, at the moment, you're renegotiating some of your soul contracts. So there may be lessons that have played out for you, things that you have learnt. And in turn from that, things are being like rejiggled, renegotiated. Now, we also have Emperor energy here. So this could be a situation that's related to an Emperor figure in your life. Now, that's going to be somebody that is either a father figure. So this could be pointing to your father or someone that acts like a father figure within your life. Or it can just be somebody that really embodies that sort of energy. So it could be the father of your children. Or it could just be somebody that has that fatherly sort of energy where they're very protective. They're very... it's sort of a leadership sort of energy as well. Like they might even be a business owner, like quite high up in a company, something like that. So there's an energy around you, a male energy around you, that you're likely renegotiating some soul contracts with. But obviously we will dig into more details of this. There's a need for caution at the moment. There's a need to slow down with this energy coming through. So like I said, there's a lot of cycles that are closing out for people. So this might be quite a big lesson, something that's been following you along through all your relationships, through years and years, that you're actually finally now starting to close down. Because it does appear that this is related to some kind of love situation that you've been through. So let's get, and there with the 9 on the bottom of the deck. So there are massive cycles that are closing out. You're in a stage of completion. So things probably feel quite chaotic at the moment to you. While as the energy like shifts. Yeah, okay, but there's resistance. So you may be building up resistance somewhere without knowingly doing it. So obviously as we build up resistance, it's not something that we're hugely aware of, because it just builds up a little bit at a time, you know, and then all of a sudden there's this resistance and it's preventing us from moving forward. Now, so you do have the energy of almost feeling silenced, feeling dismissed, like you don't have much of a voice. And this, with it coming out as the orphan, it's likely that this is a lesson that's been following you since early childhood. So I would think even from like your parents, the people around you when you were little, you weren't very heard. So they may not have been very present in your life. Like you may have been looked after by other people, by grandparents, by nannies, you know. But you just, even if they were around, they weren't present. So they weren't paying attention to your wants and needs. They weren't paying attention to what you were asking for, what you were speaking up about. And you were just dismissed a lot. What I'm hearing now is children should be seen and not heard. So it's that sort of energy where you just would have been sort of pushed to the side. And I think you've probably been carrying that energy then through later in life. So through your relationships, through your friendships, where you just don't feel like you have the confidence to have much of a voice. And this card is clarifying the Emperor card as well. So it's likely that you've just been through some kind of connection, or you may even still be within a connection where, again, your voice isn't being heard. You're just being dismissed. It's all, the energy that I'm getting is it's almost like you're being treated even by this man. I can see him almost like being like, oh, okay, like, I'll sort that out. Don't you worry about that. Like, as if you're not capable, almost treating you a bit like a child. But you're being protected from that at the moment while you go through this stillness. So there's something about slowing down here. There's something about stillness and that bringing you back to a place of wholeness, and that you're being protected at the moment as you go through that, as you sit in that stillness, as you try and process these energies to close out this cycle. Because this is such a big lesson that's been following you for such a long time, I think it's one of those things that your guides, they don't want you to miss it. So you're almost being placed in a protective like bubble, in a cocoon. That's what I'm hearing, cocoon, while this new path unfolds for you, while you close out that old cycle, because you are forging a new path for yourself. You are working towards something new, but it's about properly closing out that cycle, because you're entering into a stage of restoration where you're starting to make peace with some of the things that you've been through, and that is in turn restoring your emotional balance, which again will just open up this new path for you. Yeah, so you're in a stage of completion. You're in a stage of completion, so you're completing out that cycle, but it's really important that you don't allow yourself to slip back into that energy, because by doing that, you're giving away your personal power, and that's clarified the resistance. So that's what's building up the resistance. It's you slipping back into this energy and not advocating for yourself, because the energy of the 8 is about restoring balance. It's about things regrouping, coming back together, but it's also the energy of the advocate. So this is about you having that voice, about you finding the strength to be able to speak up and finally push back on that sort of energy, so that you're not continually giving away your power, because that leaves energy unbalanced. And that's what the restoration is needed for, in order for you to be able to close out that cycle. Because before, things were very unbalanced, because you weren't being allowed to speak. You weren't being allowed to have a voice. And you are someone that's actually very connected. So you have a direct connection to source, but you carry this wounded energy. So you have a very wounded energy. And because of that, it's likely that you've built up this armor, this protection around yourself. So you're going to be somebody, because of that doesn't really like change. So where you've got this new path that's unfolding for you, and you're closing up these big cycles, that's going to feel quite scary and daunting to you. So again, with the slowing down of your energy, that's now being clarified by the table, which is about looking at where you're placing your energy. So you need to slow down and really think about what you're reflecting on at the moment as you close out this cycle, because you don't want to be placing your energy into an area that is not going to help you to move forward on this new path. I feel like you're still quite focused on this other person. And by focusing on that, you're again building up the resistance. So you need to be a bit of an observer. Try not to be so reactive to the situation that's going on around you, and just sit back and observe a little bit, because there might be things that you're not noticing that is needing to be, what I'm hearing is that is needing to be brought to the table. So there's things that are going on around you that you're not even totally aware of. And if you can, because the energy is so chaotic. So it's hard to see the wood for the tree. You can't see the wood for the trees because the energy around you is so chaotic. But if you can take a step back out of that chaotic energy and really be a witness, really observe what's going on around you, you're going to notice things that you weren't noticing before. And you are going through a stage of really healing at the moment. So you're really healing spiritually and physically. So with this coming out as well, you may have even there may have been some health problems that popped up a little bit, because that's really deep emotional and physical healing. Right, let's look into this situation then with this Emperor. So, who is the Emperor? Let's see whether you're still in that connection so we can get some details for you. So then you'll know if the reading is for you. Right, what is this Emperor energy for my collective today, please? This person could be a fire. I think this person could potentially be a fire sign. Okay, so you have been in a relationship with this person, and when you met them, everything seemed literally perfect. It's one of those scenarios where you almost can't believe like what's going on, because it's like the stars have aligned and everything is just perfect as you come into this connection with this person. Like, you probably would have been so shocked at the similarities between the two of you, the way everything was like aligning, you know, that where it just feels like pure magic. It would have been that kind of situation. But unfortunately, this other person is somebody that is very self-absorbed. They're very focused on themselves, and they present in relationships with a lot of love bombing, a lot of intensity straight away, which is likely a bit of a mask, which again is potentially why you thought that everything was so perfect, because they were just mirroring you, telling you what you wanted to hear. So anything you would have said, they would have agreed back with. Oh yeah, I do that too. Oh yeah, that's what I want as well. But it's all just this smoke and mirrors to get you to feel like this about them, so that you're thinking that this is this perfect situation, when actually it's to pull you in. So they mirror anything that you say in order to pull you in. And you have separated from this person, so you are in separation. So again, these are details, so don't make these details fit. So if you're not in separation from your person, this is not going to be your reading. But you are, so the relationship has either ended or you're taking a bit of a break from each other. And I think you probably now feel quite unsure of the future, where you want stability, you want security. So it's left you feeling off balance, very off balance. Now, there's some kind of, I've got the engagement ring card here, okay? Now, I don't think this is pointing to an actual engagement, but it's about the union. And it's about the partnership and the commitment and the things that this person was promising, because this is clarifying the golden mirror. So this person was promising all these things: commitment, union, partnership. Like, we could be a real team, we could be a family, you know, that sort of energy. Just really trying to pull you in. But again, it's just to pull you in. It's reinforcing all those things that you want to hear. Whereas actually, they are just completely focused on themselves. So it's all just, it's all just smoke and mirrors. It's all just smoke and mirrors. And they have running energy, so they're avoidant. And that's clarifying the separation. So they have run from this connection, which again is going to have left you feeling so unseen. This is where the unseen's coming from, because when somebody runs like that, I mean, depending on how it was done, that might come out in a minute, but when somebody runs like that, it can leave you with a real lack of closure, a real lack of answers, and you probably just feel completely unseen, unheard, abandoned. Yeah, so they're a gaslighter. So they just tell people what they want to hear. Yeah, and it was done very shockingly, the separation. So it's not going to be something that you were expecting. It was very sudden. It was shocking. It caused a lot of upheaval. This is feeling like a bit of a karmic situation here, potentially. So that this connection came in to highlight these lessons to you, to highlight the cycles that you needed to close out. But you have a lot of strong feelings for this person. But yeah, the separation has caused a transformation. So it's caused growth, which is the whole point of the karmic situation. It comes into to close down these cycles, to highlight these lessons to us, to cause that growth, and for us then to just, you separate from that person and then just go on your way, because the ending here is bringing about new beginnings. So even though you feel very sad at the moment and you feel very heartbroken, this is going to push you forward, because this is a cycle that needed to be closed out. But you have very strong feet. I think you're caught in a bit of a love bubble with this person, and they have. I think you think that there might be a soul connection here. So I don't know whether you're looking at this connection and thinking it's more of a twin flame sort of connection, whereas I've got to be honest, I think it's a karmic situation. I don't think you're meant to re-enter a connection with this person. But you seem to think that there's some kind of union, there's some kind of connection, soul tie here. So I think you're sat in the energy of wanting to work on it, which is potentially causing the resistance, the blocks that we saw at the beginning. So this person is watching what you're doing, okay? They are keeping an eye on what you're doing, and it does seem like there might be some form of communication that is coming. I'll check actual movement. But they are thinking about you. But what you need to remember here is this person may reapproach you, but they were gaslighting, they were mirroring, they were just telling you everything that you wanted to hear. So even if they do contact you and they do reach out, you need to remember that they're not who they presented themselves to be to you. So you don't have, there's my confirmation, they're not who you think they are. So if they come back and you accept that, you're just going to repeat the same cycle. They will run again. It's likely that you will get left in this sort of energy very, very quickly again, because they're not showing who they truly are. They're hiding behind a mask. Let's check movement. Let's see if they are actually going to. Because they might just be thinking about it. They might just be reminiscing a little bit and thinking, Let's see. Because this is not... I don't believe this is a connection that you're meant to re-enter. So by potentially doing that, you're reigniting a cycle that needs to be closed out. Okay, is there any movement coming in the next 2 weeks for this collective, please? Again, with the narcissistic sort of energy, very full of themselves, very... just showing you what you want to hear. Okay. So we do have date night. So they're definitely thinking about revisiting the connection, but there's something here to do with divine timing. So again, it looks like this is a situation that's playing out, being guided by your spirit teams. That's likely because of this cycle. So there's going to be soul contracts at play here. There's a detail here about pets. So there's going to be something that ties you to this person with regards to a pet. So again, that's a detail, so don't make that fit. But underneath the date night has been clarified with the communication issues. So it's like they're considering that, that's what they're thinking about, but they're not communicating that to you. There's something that's playing out in divine timing. Soul contracts at play. So the soul contracts might potentially involve a third party. There might be other people that are like linked in here that you're waiting on this divine timing for. But again, there's something about commitment. So again, with the engagement rings, the union. So it's either that you spoke about this with this person, you could have potentially been engaged with this person, or that was something that they promised you. I'm just going to get 2 more cards out of this deck. But there were a lot of challenges within the connection. That's interesting. The love spell coming out is interesting because this is about feeling bewitched, and really feeling like, you know, someone's like put their spell over you and you're just so consumed by them. And as I was saying with the black cards, I think you feel like there's some kind of soul tie here. There's some kind of magical connection here. That's it. That's really interesting. I think there's soul contracts at play here. Hang on, let me get my pop art tarot and let's see if there's other people that are involved here. Now, this doesn't need to be in terms of like romantically, but there may be other soul contracts that are playing out for this person that are affecting your timeline too. Because there's big cycles that are closing out. There's stock contracts involving other people here. Let's see what's happening with this connection. Okay, so you are so sad from this separation. I think you feel completely discarded, completely left out in the cold. It's a really horrible energy to be sat in. And it's left you very much stuck in your head. So you're overthinking about things a lot. So that in turn is going to be something that needs to be worked through, that overthinking here. But you're very, very sad. You feel like you've been exiled, just completely discarded. Completely discarded. But the overthinking is leaving you feeling more trapped. So playing everything over in your mind is what's building up a lot of the resistance for you, and it's because of the illusions. So there were so many illusions surrounding you because of all the gaslighting and the mirroring that you can't work out. It's like you can't piece it together because it doesn't make, none of it makes sense because it's all illusions. So it can't be pieced together. But I think that in turn is circling in your mind, and it's leaving you feeling very trapped, very restricted. You are wanting a reconciliation here. And that is not... That would not be good. A reconciliation here would not be good. I think you're trying to look at things from a different perspective, but it's not the right perspective. I think you're convincing yourself that this reconciliation is going to come because of a soul tie. But I believe that... oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I believe you're mistaken about the soul tie. I don't believe there is a soul tie. I think this was a karmic connection that you're meant to walk away from, to move on from. But you're pulling yourself back in because you're focused on this soul tie, the connection. It's almost like you're being stubborn about it. You're trying to persevere through when you're not meant to. You're meant to release it and let it go. And they are somebody that is very charming. They know all the right things to say. They know exactly how to come in to get your interest. And that's slightly concerning with the energy that you're sat in. Because I think, even though it's not the right thing to do, I think you're going to welcome them with open arms. I think you'll be so happy that they've come back. When really this needs to be left in the past. Because again, he brings illusions. So there still would just be so many illusions within this connection. So yes, they may return, they may come back, although they've not made a decision at the moment to actually take action on that movement. But all they're bringing back with them is illusions. More smoke and mirrors. And you're just going to repeat this same cycle. The same thing will happen again. It's about reacting differently to get a different outcome. You're not going to get a different outcome if you continue to repeat the same pattern. I think you're trying to balance everything at the moment. To keep everybody happy. But by doing that, you're abandoning yourself. And this person is... again, they're showing up with this really charming, like they're going to try and charm you to lure you back in. And you're someone that's very impulsive. You can be quite unpredictable when it comes to relationships, which is why I just think it looks like you're going to jump head first straight back in. And in doing that, you're going to repeat a cycle that needs to be closed out. You need to really try and choose yourself and not re-enter into a connection that is not fulfilling you, that is not going to help you to move forward. It's like this relationship is really being pushed to its extreme, and it's just causing imbalances across the rest of your life. So you might find as well that within work, within family, within your friendship groups and things like that, things just seem really off, and it's because everything's off balance because of this situation. It in turn creates an imbalance in other areas in our life. This would not be a good connection for you to get back into, but I've got a horrible feeling that that's what you want and that's what you're going to do. Let me check what shadows are lurking here for you. Okay, so what shadows are the Divine Feminines needing to release? The cycles. Let's say earlier about feeling unseen, and then we've got the unseen truth. You do feel unseen, but it's about breaking down those mental chains, about breaking down those old belief systems, because they're keeping you stuck in this cycle. You're just going round and round in this cycle because you're not processing the grief properly from the breakdown of the relationship. And you have a very strong inner critic as well. So you're someone that's very harsh on themselves, and you're being shaped by your past conditioning. You're not standing in your truth, which again is this being silenced, not being seen, not being heard since you were a child. But that's why that needs to be broken. These mental chains, these old belief systems need to be broken down. They need to be rewritten. And you need to understand that that takes time. So you might, again, be being, with that inner critic, you might be being quite harsh on yourself. Like, you should be over this by now. You should be fine. But healing takes time. Like, it's not a linear process, you know. There's always setbacks. There's always things that shift things. And you need to try and turn your pain into some kind of purpose. Your struggles can become the greatest foundation for your strength. But it's about recognizing that and stepping away from the codependency, because you don't want to face these shadows. You just slip straight back into the codependency within the connection. It's easier, it's more comfortable for you to take that person back than it is to try and break down these old belief systems. So that's what you do. It's about releasing judgment for yourself, this wounded heart energy. So you need to acknowledge and tend to past emotional wounds, because you're really repressing your emotions as well. You're really storing them within your body, and that in turn could be leaving you with physical illnesses. Physical illnesses will manifest when heavy emotions are stored within the body and they're not released. And again, it's about this fear of love. So you're fearful with these abandonment wounds, but that in turn is why then we stay in these uncomfortable situations, because it's easier to stay with somebody. Better the devil you know, I'm hearing. I think that's what you think. Better the devil you know. So it's like, but if I leave and meet somebody else, they could be worse. But it's about recognizing that you're choosing to stay in these kind of situations rather than just being alone. Because that's obviously even more scary to you than being in a mentally abusive relationship. And that's really sad. And that needs to be broken down, so that you don't continue to live in these cycles. Yeah, they're trying to get you to close down this cycle so that you trigger a rebirth. So you're going through a bit of a death and a rebirth cycle, but it's about, the lesson will always represent itself so that you can show that you've learnt it. So this lesson will continually, it will continually present itself until you choose a different outcome. So you're going to get trapped in the cycle, trapped in the loop, unless you make a different choice. Right, let's see. All I keep hearing is choose self, choose self, choose self. Let's get you some moon cards. It's the time. Right, what's going to help this collective, please? Choose yourself. So fiery climax approaches. So this is Aries as well, which is interesting because obviously we're about to enter into Aries season. And there's going to be a lot of shifts that are coming through April because of these 7 planets that are going to be in Aries. Anyone that's got Saturn in Aries is going to be entering into their Saturn return. There's a lot of big cycles that are closing down. You're needing to step out of your comfort zone, okay? So this is about breaking down those mental chains, trying to step away from those repeating patterns. And that will feel uncomfortable for you, but sometimes we have to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone to be able to move forward. And you're really needing to do that. Conclusions are within reach. But you've got to remember, it's how you approach this situation. It's how you deal with it that is going to cause, that is going to affect like the next steps of your path. Because re-entering into that connection is going to repeat the cycle. So then the conclusions will not come. They're within reach if you choose the right response. And remember that you are enough. You are good enough. You're not lacking anything within you that is causing these situations. But it's about shifting that mindset and understanding that you deserve better. And look, a new romantic cycle approaches. So they're closing out this cycle is likely going to bring in new energy for you. Yeah, the energy is gaining momentum. You're on a cusp here, a precipice, where you're right on the edge of something. I can see it, almost like you're standing on the edge of a cliff. But it's how this lesson is dealt with. It's how the cycle is either closed out or not closed out that's going to affect this coming in. Because that cycle needs to be closed out in order for new energy to properly come in. Again, with more Aries. Aries season is going to be significant here. So you may be someone that is about to approach their Saturn return. You may have significant Aries placements. But yeah, this is about looking at the bigger picture here. Okay, so I understand that you have very strong feelings for this person and you're wanting to go back into that connection, but it's about looking at the bigger picture and thinking, is that really what you want for the rest of your life? Like, surely not. So it's about seeing that acting differently, it's going to shift all of that for you. It's going to change all of that for you. You need to bring love into the situation. Try not to be so fearful of moving forward with somebody else, because let's be serious here. Yes, there's a fear of that anticipation of what a new person could bring, what potential problems they could have. But by being so fearful of that, you're leaving yourself wanting of a situation that was abusive, that has left you heartbroken. Why would you want... So you're craving something that you know is bad, because you're too fearful of a situation potentially being bad. So it's like you're pushing yourself into the energy of your fear. Like, well, if I know this relationship's bad, so then I don't need to be scared of what's coming. But the potential of what could be coming is being missed. That there is a potential there that this person won't be abusive, that they will be in alignment with you, that they will be a like-minded soul to you. But because you're so fearful of that, you're choosing the abusive, to wish for the abusive situation back. That's not good. A personal issue reaches resolution. Significant signs here to tie you in as well is we've got air signs, Sagittarius, Virgo and Cancer. This old situation needs to be released. Obviously, you can do as you please. I am here for guidance, but honestly, I'm almost half begging, like, please don't go back to that. That you have the potential to close out a cycle here and move forward. Take that opportunity. Take it. Grab it with both hands. Again, what do you need to release? Release it. Release that relationship. Release that connection. Leave it behind. There's so much exciting stuff that's coming towards you if you're able to close down that cycle. But the cycle needs to be closed down. Yeah, this is because you're sat. I'm going to get you some messages from my wolves. These cards are a little bit softer. They're more gentle, again, with the illusions. You are being surrounded by illusions at the moment, which is why there's a need for caution. Okay, what advice can you give the collective to move forward, please? Oh, that's too many. Yeah, that Moon card. It's like you feel some level of responsibility for the illusions that have been placed around you. See, and they are just trying to give you gentle advice so that you leave this situation behind, because it's prosperity that is waiting on the other side for you. But it's about, we've got to work through these shadows. The shadow work needs to be done. So closing out that cycle, leaving that pattern behind, that needs to be done in order, it's my confirmation, because I'm blocking, in order to bring forward that prosperity. You may need to speak to some other people to be able to process this properly, to be able to resolve it. It's not something that sitting with on your own is going to be good. So even speaking to friends, speaking to family about the situation would help to shift your perspective. It would help to open your eyes, I'm being told. Yeah, because you are completing out cycles, the completion there again. So that cycle is closing out. They are wanting you so badly to realise the deception and the illusions that are around you and to close out that cycle. This is not somebody that you want to bring forward onto your new path that you're forging. And you're moving towards growth and emotional balance. And you're not going to get that by bringing this person with you. And I think deep down you know that, but you just don't want to admit it to yourself, which is the shadows that need to be worked through. Because you are making progress, but there's disagreements. So I don't know whether you're still in contact with this person and there's been a lot of arguments, but that is pulling you back, it's building up the resistance, and you're really needing to focus on like having fun, doing things for yourself, like taking time out for self-care, however that looks for you, be that painting, be that listening to music, be that going for a nice walk in the woods or something, you know, whatever that is for you, embrace that as you go through this ending. Turn and focus on yourself. That's what you need to do. Go inwards, go within, sit in stillness and really, really focus on yourself.